Boom, schlock, boom. We are back. We are in the double digits, you guys. Double digits. That's such a baby. I'm absolutely nothing, but hey, it's somewhat of a milestone. Episode 10. My homeboy here from the Heavy Hitter podcast, also selling Minnesota on Instagram, Josh Johnson.
And Twitter. What's up, homeboy? Heavy
What's
Hitter,
up, man?
Heavy Hitter Nation, Neanderthal Nation. All I gotta say is, are you on 10 yet? Are you on 10 yet? You know that song, right? You're
I
very
don't,
well.
I don't know that song.
Kendrick Lamar was part of that Black Panthers movie. Are you on 10 yet?
Oh, okay.
I think 2 Chains might also be on there, but
If I heard, I don't know. I'm not very good with um song titles, but if it's on, there might be a I might know the words to it.
yeah. What is your favorite song right now? What are
Oh,
you listening to?
man,
You having a record year like Eric Church?
who's Eric Church?
You don't know Eric Church either?
Should I know Eric Church?
Yeah, country guy, country.
Oh, no, 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 no. I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
That's
No.
cool.
You know it's I it's not for everybody. Like I like hip hop. I like the harder the better. I like good hip hop. So, but I understand how people would hate it. Like it's not for everybody. And then, country's the same way, it's for a very select few people.
For sure. And see, I like everything, and that's what's like so weird because I think especially when you would hear conversations on the Heavy Hitter podcast, we had DJ Bonix was Khalifa's DJ, which they're on tour now, and there's a lot of hip hop references. I feel like, but if you just listen to that, you would think like, okay, like who is this like Eminem guy from Minnesota thinking he's Eminem 8 Mile? But like I like country, I like 70s, um, Steve Miller's like one of my favorites, Steve Miller Band. I like everything. I like Smokey Robinson,
How
everything.
how old are you?
Dude, why you got to put me on the spot like
No,
that?
I'm just trying to I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just curious like why I just think your age would tell something about
It,
how you have such an eclectic taste in music. It's
it,
just
it might be telling. Let's see. I will be in September. I'll be 34.
okay. Where did you grow up? Where are you like did you grow up in one area or what?
Yeah, so I was born in Germany because my dad was in the service. So I was born in Frankfurt, Gießen, um, but I only lived there for a couple months. They brought me back to Fridley, Minnesota. I grew up in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, and then went to Eau Claire, Wisconsin for college. Moved back to Maple Grove, Minnesota, to Burnsville, back to Maple Grove. So not very exciting, dude. How about you?
I imagine you don't have to go very far south and you're getting a sunburn pretty quickly and easily.
For sure. Sure.
Wow. I have a lot of northern. What service was your family in? Were you in?
Army.
Okay, I grew up in the service. Yeah, I grew up in a lot of northern spots. I was in Michigan, Upper Michigan.
That's right. I remember you talking about that at one time.
It's cold up there.
Yeah.
I like the cold.
You like the cold? You do a little skiing and stuff?
I used to ski, but Kansas City's not really. We have a hill that they try to call a mountain, and people go up there and ski on ice. Basically, it's not worth it. I don't know. I don't do it. No, I'd rather be in the woods hunting during that time of year.
For sure. So where were you born then? Were you born in Michigan?
Yeah, I was born in Michigan.
Okay. Where in Michigan? Ann Arbor?
No, way up north, a tiny little town up north. Nobody would have heard it. It was on Lake Huron.
In the UP? Is that the UP?
No, but it's not far from there.
Okay. I've actually never been to Michigan. That's weird, right?
Yeah. So how did you get this taste? Like, when was the first time you heard rap? I guess 34. I guess probably MTV. Or what? Did you watch like a lot of MTV and like BET and stuff like that? I'm sure you had cable.
Yeah, probably a lot of MTV growing up. You know, back in the day when Saved by the Bell was still on. Um, Saved by the Bell and Full House. Well, how old are you?
I'm 38.
You're 38. So we're in the still. I was probably a freshman and you were a senior. You were probably punking me in high school.
No, I left freshmen alone. I didn't mess with freshmen. I didn't mess with anybody, man. I got along with most people. Eh, yeah, there might have been a person here or there that I may have. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
You
Did
know.
you go to high school in Michigan then?
No, I went to geez, I went to like three different high schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you got suspended from so many.
No, no, I just
I'm
moved
just
around.
I was just messing, dude. What and did you end up going to college or
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I did a little bit of college. I had a soccer scholarship, but I just why is this coming up? This is
I I
Are
don't
you
know.
trying to date me or
I am. I'm like I'm swiping right. Is that wait, is that the way you go? I don't do that Tinder bullshit. I don't.
Yeah,
I
so you're
you,
married?
yeah.
How long have
I
you been married?
it'll be 9 years in October.
Okay, kids?
Yep, two boys.
Okay.
How about
I mean,
you? How about you, Daddy?
yeah, I'm a daddy. What is your favorite thing about being an adult? Like, did you ever think as a kid that you were going to be an adult?
Yeah, I couldn't wait to grow up, and now some days I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Right? I mean, but here we are, we're adults. What's your favorite thing about being adult? Like, I mean, not your, I'm sure you don't have the favorite, but like when I ask that, what are like the first couple of things that come to your mind? What are your favorite things about being an adult?
That's a good question. I
Come on, man. It's Monday night and you're drinking. That's
being
pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, I was gonna say like not to be shallow, but being able to buy booze, I guess. Um, I don't know. It, I don't know, man. What about you? What are you thinking?
Come on, man. Like I said, it's Monday night. I don't have a curfew. I have to work tomorrow, but that doesn't matter. I'll get myself up. I'm having drinks. I'm doing a podcast. I'm hanging out with someone that I'm really curious to talk to. And I mean, if I want tomorrow to call in, I can call in. I won't.
You're too responsible, man.
I am very responsible
Do,
sometimes.
do you see? I don't think most people know that the podcast nation is like a side hustle, like if you're involved in podcasts like I am and you are, you get it. But I think to maybe a lot of guests that we have on, or to maybe your family, friends, acquaintances, they're like, what the hell is this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. I'd love to talk podcast with you. Since I mean, you guys have me outnumbered like over 2 to 1. And I don't know how you guys are doing. Like you guys, I like your guys' podcast quite a bit. Um,
Think
what's, what was, what was it like when like, is it hard to stay motivated to do it? Like what motivates you guys to do it? Are you guys still doing, should I start that? Are you guys doing it? Cause you've missed, I haven't seen an episode in a couple weeks, but I mean, I I know how it is. It's hard. Like I just went on vacation and missed a week and I know how it is.
I I think that's the biggest thing is going on vacation with anything, right? Going on vacation and then coming back and eating healthy or going to the gym or doing the podcast routine. I know Steve went on vacation, then I went on vacation, and that's when things got a little sidetracked. And then Steve also started a new job. So it was much easier when he was working at home at the time, but now he's in the office every day from like 9 to 5 and, very busy with his kids. So um, we said end of season one, I think we did 25 episodes. That was the end of season one. We were talking about starting season two up, but we didn't really make that commitment, dude. And as you know, like in this podcast game or anybody that's listening, that is in the podcast game or thinking about starting a podcast, you have to be like full out committed, and you have to say like, no, I'm gonna fucking do it Sunday night and Monday night and stick to it no matter what. Otherwise, it's just not gonna fucking happen. And there's no blame game. There's no hard feelings. It's just that's the way it is in this. You have to do. It's like going to the gym. You have to just fucking do it.
That's a good way of putting it. It is, and you're also putting in reps on just you have to find your voice. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of it's a different there's a different skill set here depending on the style of podcast you do and um so there's like this a lot of things you can't just jump into and expect to be great. You know, that would be nice, but this is something you actually have to work on and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And I mean, I feel like I'm just like super super like if this were like open mic night at a comedy club or something like that. That's pure like this is like opening mic podcast and the ground roots, man. But it's fun to do, man. I really like doing these like this endeavors. Like just gives me something to do with the very little free time I have. It's like a passion that can keep me going. Like it just motivates me. Like I love it, man. And I love your guys' podcast. I hope to see you guys return soon. If have you guys talked at all about doing it seriously anymore? Or if that doesn't work out, would you have any interest in doing one all by yourself or something? Or what would you like to have you thought
I
about your podcast future?
I have not, brother. Or I'm supposed to call you daddy, according to us going back and forth on Instagram. Which you definitely need to follow this guy on the Instagram if you're not. But I haven't really thought about it. You know, it's been a pretty good year so far, which was something I wanted to talk to you about. It's like, okay, my birthday's coming up in September. I'm going to be 34. How does one evaluate or judge what kind of year they've had? But I feel like I've had like a pretty decent year since maybe not September to September, but from January until now. You know, I met Steve at Gary Vaynerchuk's Agent 2021 in January. From there, we sat right next to each other in like the VIP area, saw him do his little keynote, which he was just in Minnesota actually last Friday, like August 3rd, something like that. But, you know, from there, like it's been a pretty good year of like dabbling in that. And Steve was really good at doing some different video creation and Instagram, but like I said, he switched jobs and was no longer working at home. And, you know, he was unhappy at the time with his job, and now he's happy now, from what I understand, which is like very cool.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah, anytime you can be happy, even if you
yeah,
got to take a pay cut.
yeah, and I don't know if he took a pay cut or not.
Oh, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that's how important happiness is.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Which actually, now that you say that, I think he maybe I don't fucking know. I guess I won't pontificate on that, but last time I talked to him, he's very happy, and I know he loves his family, and he's very busy with them. They're involved in like swimming and soccer and dance and all that kind of stuff. So where our podcast future lies, I hope it continues. Otherwise, I hope that I could go out on my own, but I don't know what niche to necessarily do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys worked together as a duo. You guys had a lot of like cool, a lot of similarities. You guys were like heavily invested into the same kind of mentality and like the same. You guys are both, uh, oh crap, Gary Vander
Vaynerchuk, yeah,
Vaynerchuk. Like you guys are both big into his kind of, I guess, philosophy. Is it?
yeah,
Okay, I don't know much about him. Like I said, I don't know much about him, but I know you guys are super into him. So yeah, you guys had a good little podcast. I'd like to see it going, but if not, maybe I don't know what would you like to do? I mean, did you like how fun was doing the podcast up these 25 episodes that you did, like, how much did you enjoy it? Honestly, like, did you
I
love it? Was it
I loved it, man. Like if I could figure out a way, not a way, because that sounds like very, it's one of those things like trying versus like being committed. It's like if I could find a way, well, it's like of course you could fucking find a way. You make a way. You know what I mean? But what we were doing for a long time, I really loved and I thoroughly enjoyed, and would have liked to even see us do more when strike while the iron's hot. And that's what I would encourage you to do is, like, I mean, if you're just like all of a sudden like you're in this rhythm of every Sunday, Monday, like, do what you can to sneak one in on a Friday night or a Saturday night since you're drinking anyway, you know, like
Yeah,
I
yeah. Oh, no,
just,
I schedule them whenever I can. I've got one, supposed to do one tomorrow night too. So, I mean,
nice.
that happens sometimes though. You get them scheduled and sometimes things fall through. So, it's in
Right.
pencil. It's not in stone. It's in pencil. So, trying to hustle and get them in where I can, like burning the midnight oil. Like,
For sure.
I have my full-time job, and then I just picked up a second job, and then I have very little free time. And when I have any little free time, it's dedicated to this. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hard work. But it's a lot of it's rewarding work. It's like work that doesn't feel like work. And I'm sure that you felt like that too. And I'd like to see
Yeah.
you. Let's find something. Like, what are you passionate about outside of I don't know, Minnesota hockey, as your sweatshirt there says?
Yeah, I've got the AC blowing. I just switched offices here in the basement. I'm like freezing. So um yeah, I don't know, man.
What
I
gets you
I
going? Are you got anything that you're passionate about? Like that you just like if you could do anything, money wasn't an issue, and it could be anything at all, what would it be?
I really don't know, dude. I mean, do you know the answer to that? I mean, I struggle with that. I'll be honest with you. I do. There's some people that are like, yeah, I'd fish all the time, I'd golf all the time. That's not me. I mean, what would you say? I
It if I could do any if I was yeah, if money was no object, it wasn't an issue, I'd be podcasting. I would make the best podcast I possibly could. I mean, which that's not to say that I'm not doing that now, but I mean, there's certain things I can and can't afford. I would love to just like put everything I could into like just a super cool. I don't know. I'd like to sync like a ton of stuff and have like a really cool podcast and yeah, if money wasn't an issue, that's what I would do. That's what I would like to do.
that I mean that that would be it. You podcast
Whenever I
all the
want.
whenever you want it.
Yeah, that'd be the life, man. For me, that's what I would like to do. If I could like, because if it would get big enough, which I don't see why it wouldn't, if you had unlimited supply of money or whatever, you could start getting bigger name guests and get if you're decent at it. I don't know, man. It's hey, you can dream, and it's
It-
nice to dream.
well, I love it, dude. And the reason I ask is I'm just curious, like how it all comes together. Like I know there's people that are doing it. Well, I don't know them personally, but I imagine they're doing it big scale and they're probably getting endorsements and sponsorships and shit.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Number one, I'm doing this now for absolutely nothing, and I expect to always do it for nothing because I just love it, man. I
you
get
love
to
the
talk to
process.
people. I get to talk to people like you. I mean, you're up in Minnesota that we've met through like through a podcast. I mean, I've had some really just interesting guests that I would never get to chat with one on one like that, and it's so
Agreed.
fun. Like it's just that's what I love about this. Like, so I do this because I'm passionate about it. I just love it. This is so fun for me. Like, I'm doing it for me. So if I could like be getting this was all I did, oh, that'd be amazing. That's my dream.
No, I agree. The best part about podcasting is the relationships. I've met people that I would have never met. I mean, would have never met you if it wasn't for podcasting. Not DJ Bonix, not any of the other guests. And we've had, like, I seriously appreciate all of the guests that we had on. Like, it was awesome. That was the best part about it.
Right. Yeah, it's just when you have a podcast like this. So, all right, so that's my answer. What? So, I mean, that's what I'm passionate about right now. I
But
mean, I'm passionate about a few other things, but like that would just, I mean, that's on top of my list of, hey, what would you do if money wasn't an issue?
well, and see, but my thing is I totally agree with you, but I don't know. I don't think that you can have like a variety show, and that's what the Heavy Hitter podcast will be hopefully in the future. It's a variety show, but don't you think almost in like this podcasting land grab that we're in now, you almost have to be like kind of nichey?
I think there's just people out there for. I think there's audiences out there for everything. I don't think you have to be niche. I think you just do what you want to do, and your honesty and your passion will eventually rise to the top, and people will find it. If people will find it, people will find it somehow, and if they like it, they're gonna stick with it. Maybe they'll tell people, or it'll just if you believe in it. This is what I believe. If you believe in it, that should be all that matters, and other people will believe in it too. You won't have to make them believe in it. If you believe in it and it's something you would listen to and it's something you like, other people will too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and that's one of the things like I'll
And
never forget. Sorry, go ahead.
I say, and if they don't, at least you're having fun. You know you're gonna get some people. Like I don't have a giant. I mean, you can see my numbers on YouTube, but I also have the audio version, which is a pretty decent size too. And it's fun just to see them go up every single day. It's
Isn't
really
it cool
it's
that
awesome, man. It's
to
really cool.
see all the new plays and all the new plays every month?
Yeah, every day I don't check it every day, but every sometimes I'll check it every day. Sometimes I go 3, 4, or 5 days, and then I'll check it and be like, it just always goes up every day. It's really cool. It's exciting.
So, I remember when you were on our podcast and we talked about, the Neander. Do you say Neander talk or Neanderthal?
Neanderthal.
Neanderthal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a play on Neanderthal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Um, but with your podcast, I mean, I saw you just had a podcast that I'm excited to listen to. It was like a sports podcast, right? Sports radio.
Yeah, I just had a guy on that's a local FM sports talk show radio host, and he also announces football games for like a local semi-pro team and a semi-pro basketball team. And yeah, he's really into sports talk type stuff.
Sweet. You guys talk fantasy football at all?
We were going to somehow we just kind of we just missed that mark, but he had a pile of papers and magazines and stuff he was going to talk about. But but also kind of to be honest, I didn't know that I wanted to just have a fantasy football podcast. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know that many people would be interested in that. Like I kind of like getting more personal. Like I like cool conversation, like not strategy for niche sports. You know what I mean? People
I,
aren't coming to Neanderthal podcast for fantasy football advice.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So
I got you. Well, and I guess like that's my question, and also the question that I struggle with my podcast is
can I ask you real quick, question real quick?
for
Can
sure.
you check your settings and see if your microphone is doing your computer microphone or your headphone microphone?
How do I do that?
There's a settings button up next to that red phone, that little gear looking
Oh,
thing,
yep.
and then check your microphone and see if it's to your microphone, your headset.
Um, so the microphone, it says default internal microphone.
Okay, you don't want that. No,
Fuck.
you're
Okay.
fine. It sounds fine, but switch it. There should be if you click on the arrow, there should be an option to do whatever your headset is.
All I see is internal microphone built in. Actually, so I've got the sound. It says default headphones built in.
Try that and then save it.
Save it. Okay, I don't know. Do you hear a difference at all? Testing, testing, 1, 2 on the Neanderthal podcast.
Sounds fine. I
Still
don't know.
sound like shit.
What were you were tapping something a second ago. Tap it again. Your papers or something.
Yeah. Was
I
that
think it sounds better. I think it sounds better.
was I tapping?
You were, but it sounded echoey and bad. I think we're better now. Sorry, that was
No, it's all right, dude. So I was gonna ask you because I think about this for my podcast, and I don't want to go down talking about my podcast. I want to talk
oh
about
no,
your
it's great.
podcast.
I wanted to just talk about podcasts in general. Earlier we kind of broke away when we got off to the country rant. You were asking me what my favorite song was or what I'm listening to.
Yeah, and you never answered that.
Well, we got sidetracked, which tends to happen on this show. Quite honestly, it's definitely my fault. Uh,
It's my fault.
so honestly, I listen to podcasts. I don't listen to a ton of music. I listen to just a ton of podcasts. Right now, it's you mentioned fantasy football. I'm listening to a lot of fantasy football podcasts, and there's a few other ones. I don't. I mean, I've got a whole bunch that I like to listen to. So that's primarily what I listen to.
Does your work allow that? I mean, you're able to listen to
Dude, that
stuff.
is all I do. If you knew how freaking brain dead boring my job was, I make it just I make it good because I'm fortunate that I love podcasts, I guess, because I get to either laugh or learn or get lost maybe in an audiobook. And that's what I do. I just put my headphones in, my Bluetooth headphones. It's connected to iTunes or whatever, and yeah, I love it, man. That's what I listen to. That's my jam. So yeah, I can do that at work.
Cool. I really think that's a cool thing. I mean, that reminds me of back in the day when I was in college and I was like uh, unfortunately, a parking attendant where I had to
You're a
work.
parking attendant?
Well, yeah, I had to work like the visitor center, but
Oh
then I also had some shifts where I had to go write tickets, which sucks. Yeah, I'm that guy.
how
Um,
did you feel? Did you ever have any instances where someone like berated you and like just was like cussing you out? Like, have you ever had any like cool stories like that?
there was one time there was a guy. He came like flying out of the dorm and was like, "Are you kidding me, bro?" Like just like I thought he was gonna like come at me, dude. Um, Thought I was gonna have to throw him in the old Chippewa River, but but and the thing was is to be totally transparent, I was probably the parking attendant with the least amount of tickets I actually got talked to, so it wasn't mean my quota. So I just I didn't like giving people tickets, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
then at the same time, you get a lot of people, and believe me, I got tickets as well. So just because I was a parking attendant didn't mean I got off by any means. Um, but it's just I think there's a lot of people that there's some honest people like you and I that you're 15 minutes over, but there are people that are like habitual, just breaking the rules. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like anything. But yeah, but anyways, where I was going with that is being a parking attendant. It was just so like brain numbing. You can just like you're just going through the motions and you can like listen to shit. You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
that
Definitely.
that was a pretty cool job, just sitting in front of the computer at the visitor center, drinking coffee. But I mean, and back in that day, there were no podcasts. I mean, that'd be really sweet if there was.
Yeah, I've been on the podcast train for about uh I'd say 12 years.
No shit.
12 years I've been listening to podcasts basically since the very first podcast was out. Like I very distinctly remember I was taking a cross country. Uh, I was going from Rhode Island to Kansas City in a truck. by myself, a Ford Ranger to be exact.
What color?
Um, Maroon red, like a maroonish red.
Okay.
90. Yeah. So, anyways,
Maroon Red Ranger, you were headed where?
from Rhode Island to Kansas City,
Okay.
and I was just outside of Rhode Island, and it was beautiful country. And I was listening to AM. I think I was listening to public radio, NPR, and they had a segment on there, and the guy was talking about this thing called podcasts, and he was explaining what it was. And he was like predicting that this is going to be the next big thing. I was like, huh, when I get back home, when I'm with my internet, I am going to check this podcast thing out. And I was really into poker back then, and I was just like, let me just check out poker podcasts. And just to do that like today with a Google search. You could still do that back whatever 12 years ago. And I did that, and I started finding these podcasts, but they weren't like on a podcast app. They'd be on like a website or something, and you could download it. I would download these podcasts and put them on CDs so I could listen to them in my car. Like I
Oh
would,
shit.
or I would put them in. I had an MP3 player, just like a tiny little
Yep.
shitty MP3 player, and I would download them on there, and I'd listen to those at work or in my car or whatever. So, yeah, I'm old school. I love podcasts. I can't believe it took me this long to start one, but
You are the OG.
yeah, I should have started a long time ago. Now I'm late to the game. Everyone's got a podcast, but it's fun to do.
Just a land grab. So who is the OG of the podcast world? Or like what was like the first couple of podcasts that are like who's been around the longest?
For me, like who's been around the longest for me that I'm probably aware of is Adam Carolla.
Okay.
Have you ever listened to his show?
No.
It used to be really good. Like
Well,
uh,
he was part of the Man Show, right?
he was part of the Man Show, and he was also on Loveline with Dr.
Okay.
Drew for a long time. And then he also had a radio show, and he got fired from the radio show, and it was a really big, it was a very big radio show that he had. Um, and he didn't know what to do, and he started a podcast after that, and just built this podcast empire. And he treats it basically like radio. His show used to be really good, and then it wouldn't be like full of sponsors, but now it's like a radio show. Like he talks, and then he breaks to like this long commercial, and then he comes back, and there's like these little, I don't know, radio. It's basically a radio show now, just that you can download whenever you want. I don't know. It's not the style of podcast I like. I prefer just like this, like what we're doing. Just here we are, just BS, and not trying to break it up every 20 minutes to sell a mattress or something.
Right.
Seems phony. Like I like authenticism, authentic conversation, not I don't know. So,
Right.
but your original question was like, who was kind of OG? He's OG. Joe Rogan, of course, is OG. Mark Maron's pretty OG, and then there's probably like some smaller people that probably never really blew up, but have pretty decent followings. There's a video game podcast I listen to called Cheap Ass Gamer, and they've been around for a really long time. Um, yeah, there's some poker podcasts that are still around. Like you can find like these little niche pockets, and chances are they have a podcast from a long time ago that are still doing it.
Okay. So I mean, like what do you think it is that you find interesting about these podcasts or that people find interesting about a podcast to like keep coming back? Like what is it? Like what
Hmm. Well, do you listen to podcasts at all?
I from like here and there.
Okay.
Like I'll look on the Anchor app and I'll listen to a couple, but um
Okay. You're not really okay. Are there any
but
podcasts that you can think of that you've listened to that you've liked, like some bigger ones? Have you tried any big ones? Like, I think Gary Vaynerchuk probably has a podcast, right? Yeah, he's got
He
one.
does, but I don't listen to that like religiously because I know. So like his whole thing is he'll even have this like segue into the conversation, like, "Hey, I hope you're having a great time walking the dog. I don't have a dog, or you know, getting ready for your workout, blah blah blah." And it's like, dude, I'm listening to music when I work out. Like, I don't listen to podcasts.
I get that.
Um,
No, I get that. I like to throw down some hip hop when I'm working out too. I understand.
right?
Music, you gotta have your music when you're working out.
Yeah. Are you? I bet you're like one of those. Dude, I can't remember what it's called. What is it? The um,
Cro-
fuck. What is the
CrossFit?
CrossFit? Are you CrossFit, bro?
No, I'm not. I do things that keep me in shape for hunting. So I do like a lot of body weight stuff. I do like a push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups. I run like 3.5 miles. I'll strap on a backpack with a bunch of weight and hike that around for a few miles.
You're
Um,
like the Herschel Walker of podcasting.
no, I'm only 5'10", 170 pounds. I'm no, not a Herschel. I'm
I
nothing, dude. I'm just
bet
a guy that
I bet
like
you're a lethal weapon though. You don't have to tell us that you're into like jujitsu and all that kind of shit.
I'm not. I'd love to do jujitsu. I just can't afford it. Which which is kind of cool. It's funny you mentioned that. There's a jujitsu school that just opened up down the block from my house. I was thinking about going in there and seeing if the guy that opened it wants to come on and do the podcast.
I think you should hit him up.
Yeah, why not? Be kind of fun.
I'd listen to that shit because I've been thinking about that for a while. I've been thinking about like doing that or kickboxing or just regular boxing, but I've always been like I don't know if I really want to like get hit in the face. Like
Yeah, jujitsu is the way to go. That's You're not going to get punched. You're not going to get kicked. It's just, rolling around trying to choke each other out or, it's relatively safe.
I don't know if I like safe though. Some days I do, some days I don't.
It's safe, but you're going to get strangled. I mean, you can pass out. You can break. You can get an arm broke. I mean, it's just you're not going to get head trauma. It's probably the best way to do it. And older people can do it. You don't have to have super fast twitch muscles. Like it's good for people that are of all shapes and sizes and different levels, like all different ages. I mean, before Anthony Bourdain killed himself, he was doing it. Ed O'Neill, Married with Children dad,
Oh yeah,
he's big into it.
with the old hand down the crotch.
Yeah, he's like a legit badass jujitsu guy.
Is he really?
Yeah, yeah, big time.
Ed O'Neill. And then he was what in that
Modern
show
Family, Modern
Modern
Family,
Family, yeah, with Sophia
Verga. So,
something.
so that would that kind of go that to bring us back a little bit. That kind of brings that same question. What are you passionate like? So if there was a podcast out there you would love to listen to, um, what kind of hobbies do you have? What do you like to do? Like outside of podcasting world?
I just I don't know if I necessarily have hobbies, bro. Like
How about fantasy
I
football? Are you into
I like fantasy football.
okay.
One
Do you listen to a
I
fantasy football podcast?
I don't.
There it
And
is. There it is. Get yourself started. That we're gonna get you started. We're putting some training wheels on you, buddy. We're
I,
getting
I I usually take first or second. I've been doing pretty well the last 4 or 5 years. I won 150 bucks last year. Um, and like I'll put it out there, like I'm looking to kick some asses here. Like I'm gonna take first again. Maybe not in the playoffs because there were a couple guys that like fucked me over. Antonio Brown fucked me over last year
oh, me
in the,
too.
in the playoffs,
Every
and
year he does that every year.
Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not gonna fucking take him anymore. But usually my draft sucks, but I'm very good at managing the week to week and seeing some kind of potential.
Well, that's what fantasy football is all about. It's about that waiver wire. People think it's all
You
about the draft. The draft is nothing. It's all about the waiver wire all throughout the year. You got to be active and ready to go and know what's up.
and see, maybe I've been thinking I'm doing it all wrong, but I'm doing it right because I always have a horrible draft. I look back at like who I drafted, and I'm like, I end the year and I only have a couple of those people, and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Well, there we go, though. I mean, let's get you. My initial point was we got to get you on the podcast train. I can point you to uh I there's a I can point you to a good podcast that if you don't need like great information or you don't need everybody to have another take but have an entertaining podcast, I can direct you to one if you're interested. Like if you would actually listen to it. I think you should, man. Just try to I bet you'd like it. I'm
I
telling
would like it. I'd like it. I'm up for that.
Okay. It's Matthew Berry. It's
Oh,
ESPN's
oh
Matthew
yeah,
Berry's.
Matthew Berry.
Check his podcast out. It's entertaining.
Is it pretty good?
It's good. I think you would like it. There's a lot of inside jokes because that's another one. That's another podcast that's been around for a really long time. So there's gonna be like some inside jokes and stuff. But if you listen to it like starting now, listen to a little bit of it on your way in and to and from work, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you'd find it enjoyable and like it every day, and maybe you'll get some tidbits throughout the week.
I feel like, gosh, I feel like this is gonna be like shots fired, but I feel like Matthew Berry is like the weatherman of fantasy football, and he's like wrong 75% of the time.
Well, if you
I'm sorry, Matthew.
if you remember, I did say it's an entertaining podcast. It's not really. I didn't say it was one for getting all your information from, but it's a good entertaining fantasy football podcast. I don't find them extremely reliable. I don't really use them as a huge source.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Like you say entertaining, like do you feel like a podcast has to have like a gimmick? And like let me just give you an example. There was a podcast that I came across on Anchor. It was called like Guys and Fries or something. It was about this like single chick that would like interview guys or interview single guys, like go on Tinder or do whatever it takes to like really understand like the male psyche of dating and whatever, but would also sit down with him and eat fries at, and I don't know if she's still doing it, you know, what the deal is, but
I
do you
like
feel,
it. I like that idea.
I know it was kind of cool. I was intrigued. Do you feel like,
Do I feel like I need somebody? Do you have to be gimmicky for a podcast?
well, yeah, or do you have to be gimmicky or have a calling card? You don't necessarily have to, but I mean, you got to be entertaining. I don't know. How do you do it? What do you think?
You got to do what you want to do. You got to do what's going to make you want to do it. You got to do what you like, or else, I mean, you can come up with anybody can come up with some kind of gimmick. How long is that going to last? Is that going to be sustainable to make some kind of maybe I do oh geez, I don't know. I can't even begin. I can't even come up with a gimmick off the top of my head.
Like you've got like a big like turkey drumstick at the start of every like Neander
Oh,
Talk podcast.
no, I mean, I think no, that'd be something silly, but no, that wouldn't keep people here. But to be like a gimmicky, uh, centered like those crime ones, those are really popular.
I've heard that.
There's some good ones, but no, I don't think you have to be gimmicky. I mean, I wouldn't call what I do gimmicky, and it seems to be. I mean, I don't know. I like it.
Well, and
Uh,
I think gimmicky is such a, like a negative thing, and I don't think that's it's necessarily it.
no, if you
Like
find a cool like find a cool little subject that other people are curious about, and they just haven't done a podcast, but they want to listen to one. You know, podcasting isn't for everybody, and a lot of people just like to listen. Just because you listen doesn't mean you actually want to host one. So there's plenty of room out there for everything because there's I mean just the internet has got a group for every single imaginating. All right, I can't talk. All right, the vodka's really hit, you guys.
The
It's really hit.
I-
But I mean,
vodka.
type any kind of group on the internet, and you're gonna find people like that, from the weirdest ones to the most sophisticated ones. There's all these pockets, there's all these groups. So there's everything out there, and that's another. I was trying to get like, what are you passionate about? Like, if it's fantasy football, there's something out there for you podcast wise. If you're into hunting, there's some good hunting ones out there. If you're into fishing, I uh I went up to a sports, like hunting type outdoor sports shop by my house the other day,
Yeah.
and they have a duck hunting podcast that they just started. Yeah, I mean, it's just if there's something you're into, this goes to anybody out there listening. If there is just something you're just passionate about that's kind of weird, just I'm sure there's a podcast out there for you.
Eh, But that's just the thing. It's like I don't know how I could talk about like the Ninja Turtles every podcast or the
Oh,
Smurfs.
I bet you. Ooh, I bet you
I
that'd be fun. You could do that. You could do
it probably
something like that. If
you
you
know
really wanted to do that, yeah, you could definitely do a Ninja Turtles podcast.
you know
I bet you there is one.
there probably is. You know what would be fun like a early like 90s or like late 80s like WWF podcast talking about like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, those were Stone Cold was my guy. I was do you remember when Owen Hart died when he
I did.
fell?
I was watching that. Yeah,
I was there.
you were there,
I was there, son.
dude. This just got weird.
Yeah, it was
You
very
when the Blue Blazer came
Blue
falling
Blazer.
down.
Yep. Yep. Everybody thought it was a dummy at first. We had no idea it was him. And then it was apparent a few minutes later, and yeah, it was a weird a weird feel to the air for a while, and the show went on. We didn't know he died or anything, but then the rumors had gone like started circulating through the arena, like, oh, they opened up his chest right there on the mat in front of people and started massaging his heart, and they rushed him back and got him to the hospital, and but he died on the way there. Just yeah, there were so many different speculations that evening. It
Oh,
was
dude, where was that at?
Kansas City,
I was.
Kemper Arena. I can't in Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas City. Is that the Kansas side or the Missouri side? I should know that. It's got to be the Missouri
Was
side. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kansas City, Missouri.
I just remember watching that pay per view, dude. That was crazy.
Yeah,
Who was he supposed to fight that night?
I don't remember. I don't remember who he was coming down to fight. Gold.
Goldberg.
No, no. I was gonna say Gold Dust, but it wasn't Gold Dust.
Oh, Gold Dust.
I
Yeah.
wish it was. I would have loved to have seen. I was a big Gold Dust fan because I loved his entrance with all the glitter everywhere. Oh, that would have been awesome to have seen. Boy,
Oh, Gold Dust. Which, like, speaking of which, Owen Hart didn't his brother-in-law, I think, passed away today. Jim Neinhard.
oh really?
Was that today or yesterday?
I have no idea.
I don't. And
I don't watch a whole lot of news anymore. Like I'm very. I don't
yeah,
know.
I just saw that on Twitter. That's
Is that where you get your news from? That's where I get my stuff from, like Twitter or Instagram.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you see things on there because, like, I don't sit down and watch the 10 o'clock news, like, or 5 o'clock news. You know, especially having young kids. Like, I don't need to have the 5 o'clock news on and be like, oh, there was a shooting today in Minneapolis. Like, that just doesn't. I don't
Yeah, is
know.
that where you live now? Are you in Minneapolis?
It's close by. So Maple Grove is a suburb of Minneapolis. We're about 25 minutes out.
Yeah. Are you into hunting or fishing or football? Like, are you into that kind of stuff? Like, it's a when I think of, up north people like that, Minnesota type people, I think that's my stereotype.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty solid, spot on. I'm not like a big hunting guy. I'm not that I have anything against it. And same with fishing. Like I went fishing this weekend on a pontoon up north, about 3 hours away, but I only go a couple times a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's the thing. Like it's kind of like my music taste. Maybe that's just like my personality. I kind of dabble in everything. I like a little bit here, a little bit there. I like a little bit baseball, football, hockey, fishing, hunting, but I've actually never been hunting, although I have my firearm safety license. Um, and I only golf once a year. I only fish a couple times a year. I just dabble, dude. I
There you
just,
go. I mean, a jack of all trades. I like it.
what do they say? Jack of all trades, master of nothing.
Right, something like that. I
Yeah,
wasn't gonna I wasn't gonna finish it. I was just gonna say you're a
that,
jack of all trades.
that should be my podcast.
There you go. Perfect. All right, we're getting there.
We're getting somewhere.
Yes, Josh Johnson's jack of all trades.
Master of nothing.
Master of nothing. You don't have to have guests. You can just come on and talk about whatever's going on that day. Kind of do what you guys were doing, just without Lopricon until he's ready to come back or something. Like let him take a break, and if he wants to come back, maybe you're just holding it down. I don't know, something to do.
And then I need some kind of gimmick. Like I need to get like pied in the face or like kicked in the nuts at the end of every podcast.
Nah, nah. You just have to have good content.
Keep them coming back.
Yeah, I love. Speaking of good content, I like your Instagram. You're a fun dude. Like I'd like to hang out with you. You've got like this fun. I don't know. You like your job. It seems, which is kind of rare these days.
It's just kind of rare. Some days, man.
Yeah.
My job is probably like any other job where it's like sometimes you're like, what the hell am I doing?
You sell houses, right? Is that
Yes. Yeah.
what's a typical day like? So what's your day like tomorrow? What are you doing?
What does my day look like tomorrow? So I've got a listing. We've got
What time do you wake up?
it's all dictated by my kids. So it's usually like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I get them to daycare by 8. Um, and then it's all day by day. I mean, it can be like showings, it can be like, dealing with, contracts and inspections and appraisals and all that kind of shit. What I should be doing every day if I was like really committed is like prospecting from 8 to noon every day. Um, you when you're in the sales game, you got to fill the pipeline, that's like my least favorite thing. I just like working with clients and doing a good job, but I don't like cold calling. I don't like door knocking, and
That
I
would
guess
be
that
just awful. I couldn't imagine doing it. That's not my personality at all. Like you look
yeah.
like the kind of guy that could at least do something like that. You look like a little more extroverted. I would like I'd be
I'm
terrible.
really
Just cold
I'm
call or cold knock.
I'm really not though. I'm really
No?
not. I'm probably like an very heavily introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
Like like I don't know, like on a Friday night after a busy week, like I just want to sometimes drink by myself.
You might have a problem there. There's a 12-step program we can
That'll be my podcast, bro.
There it is. See, we're getting ideas there. Well, I hope you guys get your podcast back up and running. That was I enjoyed it. I like smaller podcasts like that are doing good jobs, and I don't know. It was fun. It was fun listening. You guys were very what I liked about your podcast was it was very motivating. Like both of you guys just had like this motivation and like this drive that you could really feel with almost every episode. Um, like, where did you guys do? Were you guys just feeding off each other, or are you naturally like that? Where does that drive? Like, do you realize even yourself that you have like a natural drive like that?
No, no, not at all.
Really?
No, I don't think it's not something that you realize that I don't I mean, I think it's like most people. I don't think most people are like self-aware of all that, of what they're really good at or like what other people absorb or like take in or appreciate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's just you guys were always just motivationally speaking in one way or another, and just you could really feel how much you guys were passionate about it and like go getters. We were talking about how hard it is to do a podcast to begin with. It because the people don't see that if you're working 40, 50, 60 hour weeks and have a family and you're trying to do this when it's like way past your bedtime and then you got to edit it for a couple hours when you can and do this or that, like people don't see all that stuff, and like you guys just always had like this happy go lucky outlook on it and we're just like super pumped always to do it.
Yeah, it was, and it just I guess it came natural. Like we had a really good time, but we never had really a script or anything. We try to pick two or three topics that we talk about. One was always like what was trending on Twitter, but it would always be one of those things where it's like tonight where you just lose track of time, right? Because you're just sitting
Right.
down talking and connecting. What I would call like face to face. Because yeah, I can't reach out and shake your hand, but we're pretty damn face to face.
Yeah, you're pretty giant on my big screen in front of me. Pretty big.
You're pretty big. I'm looking at your brick wall like the fucking coolest podcast studio ever.
It's I tried, man. Thank you. I yeah, it sounds better this time too than it did last time, didn't it? Okay.
I didn't notice anything until you said it, and then I
Yeah.
did realize that your
Uh
headset wasn't. But
yeah.
that's how it still sounded good.
Yeah, it's fine. It worked out all right. Wow, man. So it's like this is like a bittersweet podcast. I was hoping to hear good like yeah, we got a whole bunch of episodes coming out. Get ready for more heavy hitter. Um, but if it doesn't, man, I hope you try and get something going, man. I'd help you out in any way you wanted. Like if you wanted to bounce ideas off me or come up with like if you have different like I don't know, or if you need motivation or you just need help equipment wise. Like I don't know if it's something you're interested in pursuing after this, if this isn't gonna continue. I'd love to help you out, man.
I think I really am. Like I've always appreciated just like radio and like even like Howard Stern and like people like that are. I mean, it's the entertainment business, right?
Right, yeah.
I've just always appreciated that, and I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it's like you have to be self-aware of like, can you really, do that, and are you? I don't know. Like even not necessarily if you're good at it, because like if you enjoy doing it, like who the fuck cares? But
Yeah, you'll get better at it like anything else.
right. And I did feel like as every episode went on, like you become a better communicator. So I just think, and you meet great people along the way. So hopefully someone's listening to this tonight or in the future when this gets published, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna start that Ninja Turtle podcast.
Right. I mean, the biggest reason I got motivated to do it is just a couple other podcasts that I listened to and respected. They just kept saying it, just saying, "Hey, just do it. Anybody can do it. It's not that hard. Just do it." I mean, you can't talk about it. You just actually have to do it. And like all these different big name podcasters would just suggest doing it. And I was like, you know what? They're right. Why not just do it? So it's like, here we are. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Man.
So what were you gonna say?
I love it, man. What a beautiful night. I love being in my studio talking to you, just having awesome conversation with people from all over the country. The technology we have these days just makes this possible. I don't have to have you in studio. I got you in Minnesota where I feel like it's snowing right there right now, but it's probably not.
It might be. I'm down in my basement. It was hotter than hell today, but it might be. You never
Yeah.
know. That's the thing, dude. I wish I had some like skylights above me, like talking to you, having some vodka, just looking up at the stars and like just talking about life.
Yeah. Let's get real, real
Let's
deep.
get real. Talking about I don't know, just some crazy shit. Which I can't escape. Like I gotta like rewind.
Yeah.
You were saying like what you're listening to. You're listening to a lot of podcasts. But you said you're like a big hip hop guy.
Yeah, I do like hip hop for sure. I mean, I like a little bit of everything, but that's primarily what I listen to.
So what's your favorite song right now,
Um,
or favorite album, or favorite group? I don't know. Wherever.
um, you know what's funny? Actually, I was listening to the first Eminem album the other day
Okay.
from start to finish. That is just a phenomenal album. Like it's just so good. Um, yeah,
Is,
I listened to that from start to finish the other day and loved it.
is that the hi? My name is Slim
It's the
Shady.
one that's got I didn't mean to give you my shrooms, girl. I didn't mean to bring you to this world.
Oh,
It's got when bad meets evil. It's I don't know. I can't tell you everyone on there, but it's I like a lot of old school like that sometimes to pop in and you forget how good it really is. Like you're
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, Eminem, he's good." But when you go back and listen to it before he blew up, like his first album, he didn't know he was going to be the guy that he is now. Like
right.
that album is it's a classic. I mean, it is.
So is that the Marshall Mathers LP
I think so.
from 2000? Is that the
That sounds about right.
was that like stands on there? No, that can't be. You're the real Slim Shady.
Is there one before 2000?
There must be.
Is there 99? I don't think it was 98. That was DMX. Um,
Makes me want to bark. Arr, arr.
yeah. Yeah,
DMX.
yeah. So now we're going old school hip hop, huh?
So I mean, I guess okay. So other
I mean,
than like,
you like my shirt? I got the old Wu Tang shirt on.
I was trying to figure out what your shirt was.
Yeah,
Wu Tang Clan.
Wu Tang forever. I listened to that album recently too. It's got some good.
Nice.
That double album, whatever it was. That's got some good ones on there.
See, you'd like Minneapolis. There's a place on Wednesday nights. They call it Wu Tang Wednesday, and that's all they play.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
There you go, gimmicky. That's why you're looking for a gimmick. You guys up in Minnesota have to do all these gimmicky things to grab people in there.
that's right. You got to have like a meat raffle or like hot dish night. You
Hot
know,
dish night. Oh yeah.
you know.
Tell the country about hot dish. What is your hot dish recipe? Do you make it or does your wife make it?
I make it.
You make it? All right. Tell people what hot dish is and can we have your recipe?
Yeah, for sure. My boys absolutely love it. So what I make is tater tot hot dish. So you got to get a bag of is it Orida? Orida
Yep.
tater tots?
Yep. All right.
You use the whole damn bag. You get 2 cans of cream of mushroom Campbell soup. Fuck that sodium free bullshit. The more sodium, the better. And then some ground turkey and a couple cans of milk. And you put that in the oven. Set the oven, I think, for like 400, 425. Put it in there for like 45 minutes. And you got a little tasty product that we call tater tot hot dish.
It's pretty good. I've had it. Yeah, I think I put peas and corn or something in there. I don't
Some
know.
some people do it. I don't see, and I don't like veggies in my tater tot hot dish. Some people put, green beans and all that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I just like the tater tots. I like the meat, the cream of mushroom, the milk. I like it so much that I'm thinking of like doing like a stuffer burger, like getting like ground meat or ground chuck, get the patty, punch out like the middle or divot it and put
Right.
put some tater tot in there, then cover it, and like, get it on the grill, make yourself a tater tot hot dish like stuffer burger.
That is one of the most Minnesota things I've ever heard in my life.
Does that sound tasty?
It does sound, it doesn't sound bad.
Sounds pretty good. Have some Wu-Tang on, maybe you know, maybe have some edibles and and get yourself into some hot dish.
Yeah, do you guys have edibles up there? Are you guys legal up there?
Or not, no.
No? Oh,
How about
wow.
how about in the KC?
Nope. Nope. Colorado, probably, I don't know. People talk about going to Colorado all the time around here, but
Y
the only reason it's funny. The only reason I want to go to Colorado is to do some elk hunting. That's what would cheer me up is going. That would get me excited and pumped is go do some elk hunting with my bow in Colorado. So
That'd be cool.
yeah, those hippies can have their marijuana. I want to shoot me an elk.
But could you imagine, like, after you shoot yourself an elk and you have a fire at night, it'd be kinda nice to maybe smoke a bowl, listen to some Wu-Tang, or maybe not, I don't know. I mean, d don't say, because obviously you're very heavily invested
Yeah,
in,
I don't. I'm sure it sounds great for a lot of people. I'll smoke my CBD. Uh, I had one of my podcasts had a CBD expert on talking about the benefits of that, and
what's CBD?
cannabinoid. It's derived from marijuana or from hemp, but it's non-psychoactive. You can eat as much of it, you can smoke as much of it, and you don't get high. There's no THC, and it's extremely beneficial for all kind of ailments. It's actually it's super incredible, man. If you haven't listened to that episode, dude, check that one out. Like, not to pimp my own podcast out, but that was a really good episode, not because of me, but because of my guest. I got a pretty big dude. He's a legit CBD expert. He's got stores all over the country. He's helped with legislation, changing laws. He's a big dude that knows his stuff. And so I've been doing the CBD. So yeah, anyways, after shooting an elk, I'd love to sit by the fire and smoke CBD and let it help my muscles from all that hiking calm down.
Right. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, if anyone hasn't checked that episode out, I think it was episode 6, Vince Sanders. It's labeled
Okay,
CBD expert. It's about an hour 15 minutes, hour 20 minutes probably, something like
okay.
that. And the guy just I don't know, man, it's CBD it's for everybody. Like it can help with everybody with something.
What was that your episode? I saw you had one podcast that, was like 2 different segments because it was so long.
Oh, that was a Twitch poker player, Bet on Drew is
Oh, okay,
the name he goes by.
okay,
He's a pretty big Twitch streamer, poker streamer. He's probably the biggest, if he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest American poker streamer on
okay.
Twitch. So yeah, I had him and we
Very
went.
cool.
So I guess like on Anchor, which is I use the same platform you guys use to upload my podcast. Anything over 3 hours and it's too big. So that was like 3 hours and 12 minutes or 15 minutes, something like that. So it was too big to upload all in one shot. So I had to split it up in two. So
Yeah, yeah.
for now on, I have to keep my podcast at just under 3 hours.
Yeah, I bet that was a pain in the ass to an extra step, couple steps.
Oh, it was a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, I'm really not good at editing and doing all that stuff. Like this has been just the biggest learning process for me. Like today, uploading the one I uploaded today took a couple hours of all the stuff that I have to do. I won't bore anybody with the details, but there's a lot of extra stuff I have to do because of the equipment I have or that I lack thereof. So there's just a few things that I have to do that they're very time consuming and technical.
So, do you use Audacity, or what do you use to like cut things up?
I have Apple, so I use either Adobe or I use iMovie.
Okay,
And then I record, and then I also use GarageBand.
okay,
Yeah, I use yeah. I have a system. It's probably not the most efficient, but it's what I know to how to use.
cool, man. I That was one of the things that we didn't do on the podcast was we didn't edit anything.
I don't edit. When I say edit, I mean so when I have someone in studio, when I do all the cameras and stuff, software I have only picks up my mic. It doesn't pick up my guest's mic.
Got you.
So I have to record audio version also, and then later on I have to sync up the audio with this file to the video of this file. And it's just a lot of like moving things around and just making everything line up perfectly. So the video matches up with the audio, and so it's like a real yeah, so it looks and sounds good.
Got you.
Yeah.
Which sucks because it's like if you had someone that was doing that, I mean, you said he spent what, 2 hours doing that today?
Oh, at least. Might have been a little bit longer. I had some issues today with the computer, but yeah, I mean, that's part of this thing, which again, like I was saying, like this is work, but it doesn't feel like work. Yeah,
Right.
you get a little frustrated because a few
Yeah.
things I had to restart and I had to hey, it's just like different things. It's like the things that people don't see. The podcaster's dilemma. The hard work we really have to do behind the scenes. It's crazy. I never knew it was gonna be like
Right.
this intense. Like, and it's a lot of fun though. It's not work. It's just fun doing my passion project. It's yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, man, 2 to 3 hours lost when you could have like done another episode. You know what I mean? If somebody was available, right? And that's the other thing with this whole podcast thing that people probably don't realize is it's probably just like human nature. Like, I don't know, people are flaky in a sense. Maybe I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. If they don't have anything invested. Yeah, that's the hardest thing is getting guests to not only commit, but then to follow through with their commitment. That's been like the real challenge. And look, I get it. I mean, nobody owes me anything to be on my podcast when they say they will. If something comes up, then something comes up and I understand. I'm like, yeah, it's not your thing. It's mine. I asked you. It's perfectly fine to say no. I don't take offense to it. I get it.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, man, this was like a good podcast about podcasts.
Yeah.
I want to get you listening to some more podcasts instead of listening. Yeah, I mean, try to listen to some stuff. Like, how far is your commute from home to work, and vice versa?
See, a lot of times I work from home in the morning.
Okay.
So, when I'm out driving around and like showings and stuff like that, showing people houses,
Are they riding in the car with you?
they're not. No. I could see, and I have a '08 Toyota Corolla, so I don't have one of the new cars where I can like plug in, the old aux.
I got even worse car than that. I know the problems. I use my headphones.
Yeah. So that's what I would have to do. I just always like think like, man, if I had one of those where you just like plug in the jack and you can play whatever from your phone, like it'd be so sweet. But um, No, I just have the old CD player, so I have to put the old AirPods in or do headphones. But even then, I just like when I'm driving, I just like kind of like stuff you can kind of like space out to or sing to, you know?
Right.
I'm like one of those dashboard singers, rap,
Aren't we all?
or rappers, you
Aren't
know.
we all? Yes.
I love kind of like, just rapping along with Drake and my feelings, you know.
Yeah.
So or singing a country tune,
There you go. Back full circle, back to the country.
everything, you know.
Everything. Yeah, just that's awesome, man. Well, I think if there's any way you can get yourself to listen to some podcasts, I think I mean, since you like doing them, I think there'd be some good like that fantasy football one. Yeah, I don't know. What? Why am I don't know why. I don't know why I'm pushing it on you. Listen to your hip hop, man. Who gives a shit what I say?
I, I don't know. I think you're onto something. I definitely I do, and I started listening to some too, but then I'll be like trying to fall asleep at night, and I'll be listening, um, to a podcast. I think it was actually your podcast, like one of your first ones, um, and then you're just like you can't fall asleep. You're just like you get invested in the conversation, which is that's what you want,
Right.
right? As the podcaster, but it's like I was just trying to like listen to like 5 minutes of something or 15 minutes of something, and
End up staying a little bit too late listening to. Yeah, I get
right.
it.
And that's the other thing that I kind of think about. I won't say struggle with, but struggle, I guess, struggle with, think about, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is like having a podcast. Like I personally feel that a lot of podcasts are too long. And, you think.
I love a long podcast. That's my thing. The longer the better. Joe Rogan's are like 3 hours long. I love them.
And see, I know you feel that way because I feel like you've said that before, and I've heard other people say that. But I just think there would be just like if there was like a podcast that you could like pound your morning coffee to, or you take your morning shit to. I feel like would do would do good. Just a fucking 5 minute podcast, and maybe
There you go, man. We just found your niche. Your niche. Why
the
don't you do yourself? Call it the shit taking podcast, something like that. Your little 5 minute podcast. You can come up with like one quick thing that's trending on Twitter somewhere. Give your point on it. Boom. That's it. I'd
the
listen to it.
the shit talking podcast,
Something like this.
the heavy shitter podcast.
There you go. Heavy shitter in 5.
Oh,
There it is. We just came up with a brand new. There it is. I mean, you can clean it up. It wouldn't have to be called that, but I think you should try it. Why don't you try that? Do like a 5 minute. That's a really good idea. Do a 5 minute podcast every day, every 2 days, something like that. Come up with something like that, like you're exercising. Like, I'm going to start the gym, but I'm only going to start by running on the
small.
treadmill for 10 minutes. Yeah, do real small. Why don't you try like do one 5 minute episode once a week? I bet you could do that. And you know what? You can do it on Anchor so easy on your phone, probably. You can do it while you're on the shitter. That that can be added to it.
That could be my gimmick.
Yeah, your gimmick is it's 5 minutes not only for the shitter, but while you're on the shitter. And it can just be your take on something that's trending. Boom. We just found it. I think that's a perfect way to end this podcast is getting the genesis of your next badass podcast. How about that? How you like those apples? Dude, thank you so much for being here. Josh Johnson, how can people find you? Pimp your stuff right now. If you got anything you want to say or promote anything, give it to the people.
You know, honestly, I don't want to promote anything. I just want to connect with you if you happen to hear this, or connect with you, you big daddy. You can find me at Selling Minnesota on Instagram, on Twitter. Yeah, hit me up. Let's connect. message back and forth, talk some shit. And just know that if we were playing fantasy football against each other this year, I'm gonna kick some ass. That's how it's gonna go down. Hey, I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Thank you, man. It was an honor to have you on my show. Everybody have a great night. Thank you all for listening. Hit that subscribe button for me. Hit that follow button. However you can do it. Give me that support. I love you all. Peace out.
Peace.